So hello and welcome to the 42nd episode of the Spotlight Podcast, the unofficial podcast for Century 21 sales representatives in Canada, where we discuss the hot topics and important news in the real estate industry. So I'm your host, Linas Kilius, and with me as always is Eryn Richardson.
Hi, Linus.
Hey Eryn, how's it going?
It's going well.
So Eryn is a broker and general manager with Century 21 Heritage Group. Eryn has an extensive background in online marketing, technology, and customer service. And I'm the head of business development at the real estate marketing company, Homeania. So every successful real estate agent, new or old, has a solid business foundation upon which they've built their business. This foundation may have been carefully planned and executed when the agent first got into the business, or it may have been carefully curated over time, slowly growing over the course of their career. By establishing solid pillars of your business, any agent will find the path to success in real estate. It doesn't matter if you're fresh to the business or if you've been in the business for 40 years. It always pays to take an introspective look into your business plan on a regular basis and patch it up as needed. So what we're starting today's show is the first part of a multi-show segment on establishing the pillars of your business. We're going to be covering many pillars over the course of many weeks. But before we start talking about the first pillar, Eryn, what are the pillars of your business and why are they important?
Pillars have been called many different things, and profit centers. Essentially, what it is an area in which your business is going to come from, and if you're focusing on those areas, taking one step at a time, you're able to make the most out of each pillar you're working on. So,
when you're talking about these pillars of your business, it's a very nebulous term, I guess. So, what pillar should we be looking at first, then, if you're getting into real estate?
So regardless of what pillar or profit center you're looking to sort of focus on, you should always start with your sphere of influence.
All right. And can you elaborate on what a sphere of influence is?
Sure.
I know there's a lot of different ways that people call a sphere of influence something. And so
the people around you, the people that know you, especially when you first get into the business, is where you're going to probably find that your first sale comes from and subsequent sales, because the people that know you, they already trust you, hopefully. And, you need to establish those relationships and make sure you contact them all the time. And, just gentle reminders here and there that you are in the business. And when the timing is right, they'll give you a call.
Okay, so you've got some people that you know. Now, is it just good enough to how do you manage that? What do you do with the people that you know to create this formal sphere of influence?
And when you're doing that, actually, it's a good practice to spend some really good time sitting down, and we're talking everybody you know. We're talking doctors, lawyers, dentists, somebody who looked after your kids when you were younger, somebody who knows your friends or your family, friends of the family, your family, other people's family that know you. This is important that if you know them and they know you, to add them on the list. So make sure that you create the list on some sort of format. Most people have it on their phones already. They just need to kind of wean through the right ones on their phone. I think I have over 1,000 people on my phone, and I can consider them all my sphere of influence. But you do want to manage that sphere. So, really take some time to make sure that your contact or put those people on a list, and sort of keep it within a reasonable range of amount of people, of course.
So does Century 21 have any useful tools to I guess, start putting people onto a list? If you've got them on your phone, you want to put them in a place, you want to collate them properly?
That's the best thing, actually. With Century 21, they do give us a CRM system, and we utilize it at our office quite a bit, because what we teach our agents to do is go on your phone, sit in front of your computer, go on Facebook, and start entering people into, it's called Client Connect, and it's on the online office system. Start inputting everybody in there that you think would be perfect to, either put on an email drip campaign, definitely a newsletter drip campaign with addresses. But as soon as that list is healthy and you've gone through and put as much information as possible, then you can really start marketing. And that is the key. And whether or not you're an existing agent, new agent, or an agent that makes $1.5 million in sales every year, or an agent that's hasn't made any sales. That's what you always have to have your book of business. I call it book of business because that's where your majority of the sales are going to come from initially.
So let's say you're starting putting in this list of contacts into your CRM system. Maybe it's in Client Connect or maybe somewhere else. Like, is there a good way to kind of like categorize people? Like, should you have them in tiers or buckets? Because like you might, like you said, have 1,000 or more people in this list. I'm assuming some contacts are more important than others.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be putting them into groups. Different people do different groups differently. I like to make sure, for example, that I have my sphere of influence as one of my groups. And I actually divide it up into my sphere of influence for email, which includes everybody, because I pretty much have everybody's email address. And then a sphere of influence for my newsletter. And that is people that I have addresses for. And if I have addresses for them, that's a true sphere of influence. So when I talk numbers and ask people how many people are in your sphere of influence, they'll say 550. How many do you have addresses for? 50? Then you have 50. Because as far as I'm concerned, email and phone, they can be effective, but if you have their address, chances are that you know a little bit more information about them, and they're true friends, true family. Like, you do know where to get a hold of them or how to drop by and see them.
Is there anything else you should be storing as well, other than just like addresses and contact information?
I would start with addresses, contact information. If I can get an agent that's on a plan with me to the point of getting an address list together, I'm doing pretty good. We can take that sphere to the next step as soon as we really hone in on the addresses. But any other information, of course, is important. How many kids they have, their names of their kids, birthdays is really good. So any of that information, just notes last time you talked to them. These are the things that we're going to be working on throughout your career. So it's always building.
So I guess it's important then, if you are making contact with your sphere of influence in any sort of way, phone, face-to-face, to try and like update, I guess, their sphere of influence contact in your system with additional notes. Is that a good practice to constantly keep updating with more and more information?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so important. Anytime you're making your phone call, Billy's birthday, or maybe Billy won a soccer tournament 2 months ago, and you talked to them about it. It's always nice that 2 months later when you call them and so how's Billy doing in soccer? Is the season over? That sort of stuff, and really personal things that your friends. And essentially, you want to build those relationships up again. We meet people throughout our lives and lose contact and lose touch with them. The more people we get back into relationship with and show that we care, which we do, we all do. But this is a system that you can really take the productivity of caring to the next level.
Oh, for sure. And even just keeping people straight in your head, I imagine could be pretty difficult after a while. Like, remembering, you don't want to start talking about, their son Billy if the son's name's not Billy, and you're mixing two up. So I could see that becoming very useful, especially when you've got, many hundreds, if not thousands of people on your sphere of influence. So how big should your sphere be? Is just bigger better in this case?
Well, it can be. It just depends on how you manage them. If you're managing them properly, bigger is better. But if you have a bigger sphere of influence and you're not managing it properly, if you can get it down to a manageable level for you, then that could be more productive. I tend to want to get people, when they're first starting out, to about 100 people on their sphere of influence. But I've had people sitting across as little as 2 people because they just moved into the area, or to the province for that matter, all the way up to recently had somebody with 600 people on their sphere. And I said, wow, you should be making like $2 million a year based on 600 people. But he wasn't, those 600 weren't being managed properly. So I said, you know what? Go on there and really see the people that are we call them A, Bs, and C clients. And your A clients are going to refer you. They're your biggest voice, and you may have 20, 30 of them. Your B clients, you can arrange as being people that will refer you, but they just have to be reminded ever so often. And then the Cs are just people you've done business with. They maybe haven't really been your biggest supporters, but, would be a potential. Of course, Ds are things to move on with, but so if you can get your list, and in this case, the gentleman I sat down with got it to about 250. So I was able to tell him, if you have 250 people, they know you, they like you, they'll do business with you, and you have their address, then we can actually do mathematically an equation that will tell you how much business should come from it.
So on your list, Eryn, am I a D?
Yes.
Where am I on your list right now?
Linus, you'd be an A+.
Thanks. That was a bit of a loaded question. So you've been talking about managing your sphere of influence quite a bit. Do you want to elaborate a bit on that? Like how do you manage your list and turn this list of names, addresses, birthdays, whatever you have into business?
Yeah, well, and what I'll do actually is I use a business plan that I sort of developed over the years and help with other agents with, and we can put that as a link maybe on one of the on I guess the Spotlight website. But what I do is I have a list of activities within my sphere of influence that I look at and say, okay, what am I going to budget for? What am I going to do this year? What is part of my business plan for the next year for my sphere of influence? And just top of my head, I'm thinking phone calls. First of all, let's start at the most important. Most important thing in a sphere of influence, I believe, is the newsletter. I really believe that that's true because it's been my most effective form of business at any point in time. So have a newsletter sent out monthly, just a nice piece. It doesn't have to be, I was talking to an agent the other day, says, you know what, so-and-so sends out all this market information about all the, price has gone up, this, that, statistical stuff. I'm like, do you really think people care? Like, do you really think that people need to know the numbers every single day or every single month? What they care about is just relevant, good information, fun stuff about real estate, maybe related stuff. So just have a newsletter sent out monthly. Now, this is a newsletter by mail. Just make sure that you're actually sending this the old-fashioned way, right by Canada Post to their door. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second is you should be making a phone call at least once every 3 months, 4 times a year. And then other things, pop buys. Brian Buffini talks about pop buys, or that's what he really focuses on. So stopping by their house. Obviously, if you have their address, you can stop by, give them a little gift, a little creative marketing thing. It could be events, customer appreciation events. It could be pumpkins you go by, and at Halloween, it could be different things that you do throughout the year. Birthday cards, calendars, pens. These are all sphere of influence stuff. But make sure you're sending a newsletter and make sure you're contacting them at least, I'd say at least once every 3 months.
Right. Is there any place you could be doing too much on your sphere of influence? Are there any mistakes that people typically make too?
Absolutely. And I tend to find people make mistakes with emails. I think people rely on their email as a form of communication, and I think that's really ineffective. I consider emails at the most 30% effective. That's if everybody who actually sees your email wants to get it or sees it as a positive thing. Sometimes if we send them newsletters by emails, they're going to consider them spam, and I don't want to get this email. Stop sending me. I get so many emails. Very few people say that about personalized mail anymore. People love personalized mail. So if you're sending them cards in the mail saying, "Congratulations, Billy, on your soccer win," and send him a $10 Chuck E. Cheese gift card or something like that to Billy, that's really personable. It's by mail. They'll just freak out over stuff like that. So it's really, really good. They actually, and I'm going to mention this is new to my pillar for sphere of influence is BombBomb, video email. If you're going to send email, send a video. Send something that's personalized. Me to you, you can see me, and mention them in the video. Congratulations, Billy, on the win, and hope everybody's doing well. Just wanted to send you a quick email. By the way, if anybody's looking to buy or sell in the next, you don't even have to bring up real estate, to be honest with you. But if you do it by video, much more personal.
You're really cultivating Billy as a future contact in like
Billy
20 years.
Gonna be,
he's gonna love you. So. You're talking about video. I know whenever we talk about video, a lot of agents say, "Oh, I don't really have the technical expertise to do that." Do you want to talk about how easy it can be if you've got the right thing?
Yeah, and I'm not just tooting the bomb horn. I think The guys at BombBomb are great, perfect company when it comes to service and to help you get everything up and going. But we have people using BombBomb right now that are so technology unsavvy that they are just loving it and lapping it up because they don't mind getting in front of a camera, but they just didn't know how to do it. And they made it so easy with a mobile app just to pop it open, hit record, and send. It's really that easy. So and they've got features that people can use if they're more into the technology and stuff, but you don't have to. Just send a video email, and my favorite is closing day and sending an email or a video email on closing day, and just anything. Birthdays, everybody's birthday on Facebook, right? So why not send them a video email just saying happy birthday?
And I know a lot of people may be camera shy at first, but once you do a couple of recordings, I'm sure that goes away fairly quickly too. I'm sure you've seen that with your agents as well as others too. But I remember even just starting this Spotlight podcast, the first couple of times, it's probably a little rough around the edges and, maybe a little bit of nerves in the belly. But as soon as you get through it, you get into the groove, you get used to doing it almost every week, and it becomes a lot easier down the road.
Yeah, and Linus, it's one take. We don't stop them, very often unless there's technical issues. But we don't stop very often at all. I mean, you just run with it, and it's just more personal. People they know you're going to kind of, it's actually more human to see error, and they take it better.
Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so if you're looking to expand your sphere, let's say you've got it in a place that you're managing it well, but you want to increase your business. Is there any sort of tips or tricks you can talk about other than organically over time, but ways to make this sphere a lot larger or get to the place that you want it to be?
I think that's the key, is actually to build on the sphere and to manage it monthly. When you first start, it's a daily. So it's going to take you a couple of weeks every single day to get everything up and running. Then it's weekly. So once a week, you want to get everything, making sure that things are going out and things are set up. Then you just look at it monthly and go in and tweak and change people's addresses if they've moved, and hopefully it was with you. Just the building of it on an ongoing basis. The other things you're going to add in, like when I do a first year business plan, I make sure that I don't put everything in it. You have to really get it up and going, and don't move to the second thing until the first thing has been completely in place. And it's really tough to get people, I guess, to that just address list, newsletter, making the phone calls stage. If they get to that stage, then I add in stuff like a birthday program, BombBomb. And you can get as far as, there's ways now to do paid advertising for your sphere of influence on Facebook, and make sure that they see you on Facebook every time they come up, and stuff like that.
And before we round out the show, is there anything else you want to talk about regarding the sphere of influence?
No, I think I've really hit on the one thing I wanted to, touch on was what the agent that emailed me last week was talking about with regards to, why can't the newsletter be more about all this industry stuff, right? Why can't we get all the stats and weeklies and all the things about the neighborhood? And I have an agent in my office, does great business, but one of the things that I find that he's doing is overthinking instead of putting systems in place. If you overthink your newsletter, or if you overmanage your sphere and you're doing too much yourself, it's a time waster. I can say time waster. It's probably worth the time you put into it because it's that important, but you can be more efficient doing other things and get to that next level. The agent I'm talking about does $200,000-300,000 a year in business. And it's, and he could be managing it better so he could get to the next top producer. Well, I'm not going to say that's a top producer, but get to that next level of mega producer by I guess, eliminating the micromanaging when it comes to a newsletter and having somebody do it for you. It's not about the quality of the content. It's actually about the system to make sure that it's going out, make sure it's relevant content and it's good, but you don't have to write it yourself. You don't have to be specific. By the way, your neighborhood went up 10.6% over the industry average of 12.8% or 9.8%. Therefore, it's, you don't want to get it too far into the micromanaging of your sphere.
And I'm sure you encounter it all the time, but it seems that when agents are getting to that point where they're trying to increase their business and they're getting busy, it always becomes a time management issue and trying to figure out how much they value their time and where to delegate. It can always be a difficult decision.
That's right.
Okay, just wanted to let everyone know as well, we're actually going to be doing a live version of this podcast at Canada Conference in Quebec City in a couple of weeks. So both myself and Eryn will be there along with a couple of representatives from the Future Leaders Network. We're going to be talking about the future of real estate. So if you're attending Canada Conference this year, come stop by, check it out. We'll be on, I'm not sure what time we're on exactly right now, but we're going to be in the expo area. So just keep an eye out for that and us on the schedule.
And I think next week we're going to move into the next pillar too of the building the business sort of segment.
Yep, and we're going to be continuing this for the next several shows, excluding the Canada Conference show, which is going to be probably right in the middle of all these pillars. But we're going to be going over several pillars as we go, talking about each one. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a solid foundation for your building. Is that a good pun? Good analogy? I don't know.
Sounds good.
And if you like the show, you can subscribe to the show on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. And please, please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on those sites, especially iTunes, because it really does help. So you can watch this and past shows at spotlight.century21.ca/podcast. If you need to reach us, you can also email us anytime at podcast@homeania.com. That's podcast at HOM as in Mary, EAN as in Nancy, IA.com. So this podcast was brought to you by the Spotlight Marketing Program, an exclusive marketing package available only to Century 21 agents in Canada. Spotlight provides agents with a comprehensive internet marketing strategy for their listings. We provide high-quality HDR photography and stunning HD video tours, as well as, oh my gosh, you think I've done this enough times that I feel...
See? No two takes.
I guess so. As well as an extensive advertising system that will help sell your listings faster, sell for more money, impress your clients, and generate leads. Find out why so many clients are using Spotlight by visiting spotlight.century21.ca today. Eryn, thanks again for hosting.
Thanks, Linus. Take care.
Everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great week.